Hi, everyone. I'm Katina McHenry, and you are joining us on our new March Q&A with Dean Lil. It is always great to do these, and this will be the first time, Lil, that this will be sent to students. So welcome, students. We normally do these every month, and we send them to staff and faculty, but we are so glad to include students this time. So welcome, Lil, to the March Q&A.
Thanks, and I am so glad we're including students this time, and I hope we'll find a way to package that every month and do so.
Yes, absolutely. Well, let's get to it. So we have just come off of a wild couple of winter weeks where we had to shut down for about a week. A lot of students, as well as staff and faculty, didn't have basic services, water, electricity, internet, all of those things. So let's talk about first, just within our McCombs community, who was affected and how we were able to come through that.
We have the best data from a survey that our MBA program staff did to those students where we have more than 500 full-time MBA students, and two-thirds of them replied back. 42% of the respondents said they lost power and heat for more than 3 days. That's a huge impact. And my best friend in Austin, her sister died in a care home when the power failed and the care home's generator failed.
Oh, sorry.
So I know that this event that was Texas-wide had some huge human cost. And as a business school, we also try to bring thoughtful discussion to real-world problems. And there was just a really excellent Monday night webinar co-hosted by our Energy Institute and the Salem Center for Policy. Dr. Ross Baldick, Ms. Bernadette Johnson, Ms. Becky Klein, Dr. David Spence, and Dr. Sheridan Tittman, and it's exploring trade-offs in the Texas energy system. So even as we are absorbing the human cost, we need to be analyzing what to do better and different. And the McCombs School wants to play a role in that.
Yeah, that's great. It was really, it was kind of scary. I mean, I think all of us tapped into our survival skills. And what was really incredible was to see just the communities come together to help one another. And that was all across Austin, not just at UT. I mean, there were different water distribution stations set up at UT, but it was incredible to see the effort across the city. I mean, I was even a benefit of somebody helping me get water. It was amazing. So
and we had students and shared housing and lots of messaging, and of course here on campus dorms and the cafeterias stayed open, but it really was a community trying to help each other. And it wasn't just students affected, it's faculty and staff, which means we shut down classes not just for the week of the ice storm, but for the Monday, Tuesday after, because we know that students and faculty were without power and therefore Wi-Fi, and dealing with basic needs. And so studying and preparing was just really impossible under those conditions.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad students felt safe to ask faculty or others, what are you doing to accommodate this? And instruction from the president and the provost, in fact, we should be reducing deliverables and pushing off assessments to a reasonable extent. And I know this week, that means all the midterms that didn't happen last week or the week before are probably crushing students' schedules.
Yeah.
And we're going to get through this.
Yeah, we are. And I think a lot of us are still recovering mentally, but we're getting back to normal somehow, and somehow we'll continue to get back to normal. Can you talk about just how we in McCombs were able to do that?
Well, one of the more heroic back to normal efforts I saw was that the MBA programs hosted the 3rd annual Elevate conference last Friday. And it was in person the last 2 years, but of course, Zoom this year. We had more than 900 registrants, 410 unique participants. That is a huge global impact, just amazing attendance. And this was 3 days after we reopened campus, and that group of students knows the importance of every Longhorn belonging here. And we have this exceptional program to help us keep learning lessons about how to increase every Longhorn being a part of conversations and inclusion.
Yeah. I just want to say, I know you are. I'm so proud of those MBA students. I was so fortunate to be a part in some way, a very small way, of the very first conference that was created and, you know, obviously put on by the MBA students. But it is so great. Like the students who put it on the very first time, I remember having a conversation with them about why they were doing it. And one of the things they said was, well, we wanted to see a way that we could make a difference. Instead of complaining about something, we wanted to see different ways we could take action and actually do something about the things we were upset and complaining about. So it's so great to see still continuing.
Well, it's not unique to one program, of course. It's just this is the one that's top of mind because I was so glad to participate last Friday.
Yeah.
And we had great corporate speakers, and I want to give a shout out to Dell Corporation. One of their themes in their session was who's in the in group and who's in the out group for important decision making. And gosh, that's important this week as we are still in and about to be in resuming a conversation about the Eyes of Texas. And gosh, the thing I most want to achieve as we resume this conversation in public is that this is one large family of students and staff and faculty and alumni who are all passionate about the college and the university. And it is within the family that we need the most resilience for uncomfortable conversations. Yeah. And I have a lot of trust that there is enough love in this family that we're going to navigate it together.
Yes. I think too, Lil, it's important to say that the comments of a few don't reflect the views and positions and the great work that is happening, not just across McCombs, but across the university. Obviously more concentrated in McCombs because that's where we both are. But work on both sides, work from the student standpoint of getting an education and work on the staff and faculty side of educating those students. So I think it's really important to emphasize that the comments of a few don't reflect the great work that's happening.
You're right, Katinya. The few voices that might be unwelcoming do not speak for me or President Hartzell or the college. I'll fight tooth and nail for everyone that's a member of our family to feel like they belong here.
Absolutely. And I think this gives us a chance to talk about the opportunity that is happening and the wonderful alumni who are excited about giving and providing more opportunity for students. So talk about some of those efforts from McCombs alumni.
12 months ago, I was one of the professors, your colleague, your teacher. And in that capacity, I spent more time with students and faculty. And I'm now the interim dean, so I actually spend more time with staff and alumni. But it's all part of this family. And in talking to alums, as you might expect, I get to talk to more of them who are donors to Texas McCombs. And it's a pleasure because they are so excited to give back. The people who are helping fund the excellence and elite world-class education here can afford to educate their children and grandchildren anywhere. But most of them came to Texas and saw the transformation that their education gave them in their personal lives and their careers, and they want to pay it forward. And if they can possibly be fortunate that their own children and grandchildren get to be admitted here on their merits, they're hoping that there's more orange blood in the family. But whether their children and grandchildren come to McCombs or not, these alums want to pay it forward to increase access to kids that can't afford to be here or that have other attractive competitive choices. In the last 6.5 years, these alumni and friends have given more than $70 million in student support.
And that's just at McCombs, right?
That's just at McCombs,
Yes.
yes. And it's easy to hook an alum into giving a scholarship because it's so tangible. Those donors get to be mentors to their scholars. But we also need alums with a vision to give to a building or to endow a research fund, because we need excellent facilities and we need impactful research. And the Rolling Hall project cost nearly $200 million, and alumni and friends funded $60 million of that. We have already raised $96 million from our alumni and friends toward $135 million fundraising goal, which probably represents a third of the entire project cost. So the enthusiasm, the affection that our alums have for the faculty, students, and staff is just huge.
That's fantastic. Well, and again, it's important to make sure that we don't lose sight of the great work that's happening all around, and all of the exciting efforts that are taking place. And, I think it also speaks to the kind of alumni that we want to graduate from McCombs, right? We want the students who are students now to give back and be excited about giving back, to pay it forward as well.
Right, and to go change the world. I mean,
Yes.
We have, I'm told, both of internal McCombs students and other UT students who are getting minors here, more than 800 students getting an entrepreneurship minor. And whether they start their own company or whether they're a source of innovation inside a larger company, these are innovative thinkers. And it starts here, and it starts at Texas McCombs.
I love that. And together we are changing the world. I love it. Well, that's a good place to end it. Thank you so much, Lil. This has been a great hook 'em, exactly. This has been our March Q&A. Thank you so much, Lil, and thank you, students, for joining us this time on our Q&A. We will see you next time. Have a great day, everybody.